Welcome to Sketch Today. I'm Spencer Nugent, and today we're going to be sketching some earbuds together. If you have suggestions about what you'd like to see on the channel, please be sure to leave a comment below, and I'd love to look at your suggestions for what to sketch or what you're having trouble with, and we can work that into our show. If you want to find me and become a fan on Facebook, be sure to go to facebook.com/sketchtoday or find me on Instagram. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing I'm going to do here, I keep saying that every single video, the first thing, but it is the first thing after all, is to think about the structure or design of an earbud that I'm going to be working with. So if I were designing an earbud, I might start with something like this, just a couple thumbnails. And a thumbnail, generally speaking, is just a low fidelity sketch that is primarily used to communicate to yourself in the design process what your design intent might be. So as I'm sketching here, I'm thinking of design and problems, perhaps whether aesthetically or functionally speaking. In this case, in this exercise, mostly aesthetic. And just kind of thinking about how and where I'd place things. So now I have a side view here and a front view. Maybe there's a logo here. So here's the soft, squishy material that would fit inside your ear, for example. And maybe this is some sort of metal branded element. And here we've got our cable, strain relief, and our cord. And so even doing something like a quick thumbnail sketch of this design in multiple views, okay, I'm then able to understand and really think about what the design is doing, okay? So pretty cool. And then that way, if there's a change I need to make, I can go ahead and make that change. So thinking about my final hi-fi drawing, something that would be considered ready to present, I'm going to start with, and I'm just going to do this with Sharpie today, just thinking in really rough conceptual terms. So let's do a quick underlay, and I'll just draw a single axis, and that's where my earbud design will kind of take place. So I've sketched two ellipses, and drawing tangentially from these two ellipses using a curve, I'm able to construct essentially that soft foam part of the earbud. It could be foam, it could be rubber, but the point is that it is some soft material. Under here, I'm going to go ahead, just lightly lift my paper, and that way I can mark kind of the limits of what I had here in my drawing. And so now I know, based on my thumbnail sketches up top, that there is a small connecting element between the foam area and this branded area here and the strain relief for the cord. So as I draw on my underdrawing, I'm drawing a cylinder like so. I'm just kind of thinking, okay, just in broad terms, what this might look like, okay? And so now I can use this and actually start to design, for example, where this strain relief would actually come out of my earbud. So I've taken this thumbnail and we've blown it up into our main sketch. And because I did that quick underdrawing, I'm able to then resketch and capture the intent of my thumbnail without losing the energy of that sketch. So thumbnailing is really powerful in terms of being able to just think about your drawing before you commit to the final thing. Or you can use it, like I did in this case, as kind of a working tool to think through your design. And just because you did something in your thumbnail or your underdrawing doesn't mean you can't change it later. So, for example, I decided to modify my sketch here and put a nice flat cable in with some shading and some line work. And I think I'm going to keep this one black and white, just nice and quick. Again, showing you just how I think about and process sketching a product like some earbuds. But now just adding some line weight, I'm able to really clean up the sketch quite a bit more. And since this is the back side here, just a couple vertical lines for shading on that face. And I'm going to do some tricks with the tracing paper just to get some value differentiation. So right in this area, go ahead and shade this in with my Sharpie. And because I'm working with tracing paper, I'm going to get a value change to the other side. So even if I'm working with just my one pen, I can flip this over, and there I have a nice color. I can do the same thing on the earbud here, or the foam tip rather. If I had a nice giant black marker, this would be a lot easier, but I don't have one with me at the moment. So we'll go ahead and shade this in. It really doesn't matter how rough it is so much as you just get a nice even tone in that area. So there I have some spots. If I flip these over, it kind of shows through. So I just want to watch out for just these general white spots here. Okay, because the texture of the tracing paper is going to smooth out some of these things pretty well. Okay, so I can flip that over and you can see I've got a nice texture here that I can use to my advantage. Play with some line weights on this drawing, like so. And maybe even add in just a few part lines. And I'm just going to add a background element into this so that it'll kind of stand out a little bit more on the page. Okay, and that's just a nice bold line. And I can make the outline of the product a little bit bolder as well. Okay, a little shading like that. And now, just to add a little texture, using my Sharpie and different sized dots, I can communicate that this is some sort of rubber or maybe matte finished texture that perhaps is porous, meaning it has holes or it can breathe, for example. And with a little white pencil, my little friend, the white pencil, I can now come over my tracing paper. And tracing paper just has a nice texture to it. So my white pencil is going to pick up on that texture and carry it through in the way that the pencil is applied, okay, to the paper. And you can see now I have a little bit of a highlight. And on the flip side, just use a dark pencil to kind of work this in as a shadow core. And really this whole process of using a pencil on its side has to do with playing with value on value. It's similar to using what's called canson or toned paper to start with a base value and then render up to that value. But instead we just have a nice flat even tone created by the Sharpie marker on the back of the page. Okay, so really simple, easy way to sketch an earbud. This won't be the only video that I do of an earbud, so don't worry. I'll be doing for sure marker renderings, and once I get the digital stuff going, I'll be doing some digital sketching of all these things as well. So stay tuned and hang tight. Who knows, I might even do another different design at some point. Thanks so much for watching. This has been really fun. I hope that you check out my Facebook page at facebook.com/sketchaday, as well as my Instagram feed at sketchaday.com. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, and that way you will get an email whenever I post videos. You'll get a summary saying, hey, this is what Spencer's posted and what Sketchaday's been up to. And you'll be the first to know when something happens. So be sure to subscribe. We've got an awesome community on all our channels, and we look forward to building that with you. So one way to do that is leave comments. Leave lots of comments. That's a way for you to provide some good feedback, interact with me, and let me know what you'd like to see here on Sketchaday. Well, thanks again. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next time right here on Sketchaday.